All right, so this archetype top-aided the last Mythic Championship in the hands of Luis Scott Fergus. This specific deck list is a random 5-0 deck list, I believe, from MTGOs. This is a blue-red Drake Phoenix deck, so has this recursive threat. The big difference between this and the traditional blue-red Drake's deck is that this is what we refer to as a Xerox deck in Magic, and Xerox refers to a term of a deck that plays a lot of cards that draw more cards. So we have Ops, we have Charter Course, we have Radical Idea, we have Tormenting Voice, we have Discovery. All of these cards kind of let us churn through our deck, and this critical mass of things that draw cards allow us to put these Arclight Phoenixes into play very quickly, as well as fill up the graveyard to make our Crackling Drakes very large. So let's go ahead and dive on into some matches here and see how this feels. I feel like outside of LSV top-aiding the PT with this deck, or the Mythic Championship, this archetype hasn't seen a lot of success in Standard. What is the origin of the phrase Xerox for cantrip decks? I don't know, actually. Do we have a command? Do we have a command? I'm not sure if it explains the origin. This might. That might explain it. I mean, like, and this is what makes decks with playing all these cards that draw cards kind of awkward to at least mulligan with. It's like, well, this hand could be anything. Like, I don't actually know what my hand looks like here. Yeah, this archetype does tend to be very bad against Esper Control. In fact, that's the deck that ended up beating Luis in the top 8, or top 4 or wherever. Hey, Rhiannon, thanks for the 5 months. Hope you're having a good one. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Am I still around the top 200 rank? Yeah, I was 125 this morning when we signed in. Yeah, Cry is the reason why this deck has a tough Esper matchup is because its threat density just isn't particularly high. So like Cry is tough for you to play through, and then once they exile your couple of Phoenixes, they just like get to pick apart your last remaining threats. And we can see here we're playing against Esper, so let's see how this goes. And another part of why this matchup is hard that we're talking about is because of things like Lava Coil. So, oh, they're Grixis. Okay, Grixis actually changes a lot because Grixis means that these lava... I was about to talk about how the Esper matchup is hard because the Esper deck has a lot of what we refer to as virtual card advantage in it, where these Lava Coils just don't have text boxes, but because our opponent's choosing to play creatures, these cards aren't just dead draws now, which is nice. And that's actually one of the reasons why Grixis kind of struggles as a deck in this format, is because it has these cards that turn on you, remove your opponent's otherwise dead cards. It doesn't gain that virtual card advantage like other decks do. Shock. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that. So let's draw the shock. Let's Lava Coil this Nicol Bolas. Let's shock them and put the Phoenix into play. So this puts them to 14. This puts this to 8 power. We attack for 11. They're down to 3. We have 2 lethal attackers. So thanks for the Nicol Bolas' opponent. I appreciate you. When you have a full rare playset, the rares in packs that you would open start turning into 20 gem refunds. They don't turn into mythic rares. Murmuring Mystic seems fine here. Niv-Mizzet and Ral seem great. This is a shock out matchup most likely. I guess they could be a Thief of Sanity deck, and Transing Melody seems less than ideal. Shivan Fire seems good because it kills Thief and it kicks up to kill Nicol Bolas. Arc was taken. Thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Maybe these Tormenting Voices aren't good enough because they could have counter spells. If they counter the Tormenting Voice, you still discarded a card, which isn't good. I mean, to be fair, that's what happened. What's better, virtual card advantage or virtual insanity? I don't know what the second one is. Uncertain. The hand seems fine. Thoroughly surveil our options this game. So turn 4, we'll get the Phoenix back. You have a Syncopate? So if they play old Nikki B, we'll bin a land, we'll untap Lava Coil, double opt. Holding on to the opt here because I want to use it to trigger the Phoenix, so we'll lead on Discovery. I think I'm going to bin this, but keep this Discovery here. I just want, like, a critical mass of spells to be able to get this Phoenix back after they kill it. They could have Vraska's Contempt here, which would be bad for us. We're looking for, like, red sources, which we just found, and then we're looking for more threats as well. Perfect. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. Wow, what do they have? Just, like, Stone Cold nothing? It feels like they have Stone Cold nothing. Maybe they just have a bunch of counter spells. Yeah, 5 Niv-Mizzets. Yeah, maybe. It must just be a grip full of counters, right? Not surprised to see the stroke leave us there. Yeah, I think that door swings in both directions. Like, there's some information that you bleed not being on full control mode all the time, but there's also the flip side of that where, like, expending energy doing things in full control mode comes at a real cost and, like, takes up your pieces of mental facet. Do I want to jam this? Yeah, I think so. Not too surprised to see sabotage happen there. Compared to paper MTG, I don't know that more is the correct term there so much as it's just different. And also, like, one of the big advantages of digital is that the mental facets you have to expend are less. So, like, the fact that, like, you can add one back in, even if it's still less than paper, it's still more than, like, what some other people are doing. The Blood Crypt is very common in this archetype because it's a mountain that casts Discovery, while also being a a source to let you cast Dispersal on occasion. So now I'm not gonna spend these spells just yet because I want to be able to do this next turn to get the Phoenix back. Radical idea being 2 cards for Phoenix is real good. So even when they sabotage this here, I have the 4th land, so I get to double Radical Idea still. Jumpstart also showing what an excellent way it is to mitigate flooding for us here. We've drawn a lot of lands, but we get to just kind of jumpstart through them. For the children at home, that was not a dab, that was a sneeze. Alright, Niv-Mizzet is an excellent draw here as well. Especially with Radical Idea waiting to be cast from the graveyard. So I played Niv-Mizzet before I cast this Lava Coil, so that way the Lava Coil drew a card, and when they have a counter spell, it draws a card. Although I guess the downside of this is now they have enough mana. They have enough mana to flip the Nicol Bolas, but I don't think that matters. Because, like, they flip it and kill Niv. Maybe that does matter. It's like I had this Beacon Bolt, so I could have been more conservative and played around a counterspell protecting this Nick. It's also worth noting here, too, if I would have kept the Shivan Fire, I would have been able to kill this with Shivan Fire this turn, which is relevant as well. So I kind of need to go digging for a second Phoenix next turn. Or I could just draw that like a professional. That also works. So, our matchup against the good control deck in the format, Esper, kind of tough. Matchup against Grixis, much better just because they have cards like Nicol Bolas that are sitting there turning on our things like Lava Coil that would otherwise just be dead draws. I think I keep this. The lands are a little bit awkward to start, but if there's something aggressive, I do have Shock and Lava Coil. Like, slow them down a little bit. Well, it's a little sad that I can't kill their elf here on one. Evolving Wilds. Alright, well, let's kill this. Some kind of 3-color brew, perhaps? Or are they just like a budget dual land? It's gonna get like a swamp. Island, okay. J Free TV, thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Alright, so let's start with an op tier. See where we end up at. I would love a land. And I think I just go ahead and shock this since they missed their land drop. I want to hold on to the Lava Coil in case they play like Incubation Druid. Growth Chamber Guardian's actually pretty scary here, because it's going to find a lot of friends. Definitely want a Drake ASAP. I'm ditching that and playing this Electromancer out. Climb plus Growth Chamber Guardian is very good. It's part of the reasons why the Teamer Climb deck was so reasonable. It's a lot of pressure and card advantage, all wrapped up in one package. Alright, so if I play, I can actually take this and Lava Coil this, right? I can also Electromancer plus Melody, but I want a Melody the bigger one. I think I'm gonna Melody and then Lava Coil here, and then attack for 2. Maybe get aggressive. They do get to play another Growth Chamber and kick it up to a 3/3 if they'd like. They have a Jade Light Ranger here. Deputy of Detention, okay. And that makes a lot of sense because now if I kill the Deputy, they get their Growth Chamber Guardian back. Looking for a castable cantrip to get this Phoenix back. Looking for a castable instant or sorcery here. Perfect. I'm actually gonna bin that. I'm gonna keep that. Next turn, I get to play Crackling Drake, which is a huge Mamma Jamma. That being said, even though they're missing land drops, the Sedana's Climb is going to get to flip over here momentarily, which will give them an extra resource. So it's not going to flip this turn, but it'll flip next turn when it puts the 3rd counter on Deputy, which means if they're holding something like Vivian Reed, that could be bad for us. If they don't have a Vivian Reed or an Incubation Incongruity, though, Crackling Drake's lethal very quickly. As Tormenting Voice lets us power through some more lands we might draw. Although, if they elect to do this here like they are, that means the climb's likely not going to flip next turn. Alright, I'm going to start with Tormenting Voice, see where we go. Second Drake, sounds good. Two more Drakes in hand means that they need to answer these things every turn while the Arclight Phoenix is chipping away at them. Alright, that's the first answer. What do we expect Bant to have in the board for this matchup? Not a whole lot. The Bant removal spells do not line up well into Arclight Phoenix and Crackling Drake. They can have, like, Seal Away, but, like, Baffling End is not fantastic here. I guess Seal Away is pretty okay. I expect them to have another Growth Chamber Guardian in their hand. What a weird concession. I guess they just can't beat the Phoenix. Shivan Fire seems fine here. Beacon Bolt seems great. Maybe Rail. What do I want to trim here? Is Entrancing Melody actually good in this matchup, or is it a little bit too slow and clunky? Do I want to be on the Turbo Electromancer plan, or do I want to pull up a little bit? Do I want to be more controlling on the draw? Yeah, maybe they're watching. I don't know. I don't like to jump to that conclusion. This is probably slow. Well, it was okay there, I guess. It's not good against Deputy of Detention, which they might have a bunch of. Need to cut 2 more cards here if I want to keep this rail. Maybe just trim Tormenting Voice again. That worked fine last time. This deck's got plenty of ways to get Phoenixes into the bin. What do you think are the main reasons Jeskai Control isn't tiered in the current format? Well, Jeskai Control actually just top-8'd the last Grand Prix, right? I believe it had a deck in the top 8 of the Japan Grand Prix. I think the main reason Jeskai Control is not in favor compared to Esper is the fact that Mortify is just such a quality card. Enchantments, there's a lot of really powerful enchantments in this format, and being able to main deck a way to answer enchantments flexibly is a big deal. Hey, Time Lord, thanks for the 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I'm going to be greedy and bottom the land. I'd kind of like to find my way into a removal spell to, like, stunt their early aggression. I actually don't think Kaya's Wrath is that big of the reason. The difference between Kaya's Wrath and Cleansing Nova isn't that far off, and I definitely think Mortify is a bigger part of the why there's a power level discrepancy than anything else. That's not really true, Nifty. If you go look at the top 8, there were like 3 Sultai decks and 2 Girl aggro. So it's like pretty stock, all things considered. Cleansing Nova does kill Lich's Mastery. You're not wrong. Oh, they're a Vanathir deck. That makes sense. Makes sense. All right, so what am I doing here? Probably dying to this Prime Speaker Vanathir. I think they're gonna go get a Shalai next turn, and I'm probably gonna be mostly dead at that point. Climb in their Vanathir deck is interesting. They must not be playing the Explorer package like we have in a lot of our Climb variations. Want everyone to know the Gruul mid-range first place list has no Zertog Goblins in it. That doesn't surprise me. That card's not constructed playable. Yeah, that was sweet. Not playable as a stretch, sure. Maybe I'm talking with a little bit of hyperbole there. It is a very low power level card that I am surprised people continue to register for whatever reason. You could also argue that the rest of the Gruul aggro deck is just so good that it doesn't matter that you put a bad card in your deck. I think that card's pretty rancid on average. Sure. Maybe this isn't good enough because it doesn't have a removal spell in it, but again, just like Chart a Course and Discovery, it's like, well, this hand could very easily find a removal spell. But I'm playing Land War Elves on 1-3 games out of 3 like a true professional. Those are fantastic pickups for us here. Get to Electromancer plus Shock next turn, and then hopefully chain off some cantrips into a Phoenix the following turn. Actually, I wonder if I'm supposed to save the Shock. Nah, with the Opt, I'm probably pretty guaranteed. I want to keep them off playing Vanathir this turn, basically. Oh, they're playing 4-color Vanathir. That's sweet. That explains the District Guide for fixing. What would you play over Goblin? You can find my preferred green-red aggro deck list on my website. I really want an instant or sorcery. Ideally a Chart a Course or a Radical Idea. I'm gonna keep that so I get to guaranteed get the Phoenix back that's already in my bin. It does also explain Evolving Wilds. Yeah, that's a good catch. I'm actually gonna bottom that because I'm not anywhere near, like, putting those into play. I'd much rather just like... That radical idea is a little bit late. Although I guess next turn I get to radical opt, bring the Phoenix back. Alright, I guess I'll keep both of those. This bird comes back. I think I'm gonna leave this bird on defense because I'm gonna guaranteed get the bird back again next turn. If they attack with this Growth Chamber Guardian, I'm gonna block, which will use their mana up to make them turn it into a 4/4. And then like I put 2 birds into play and race them next turn. If they attacked with this, I was going to snap off a block. So I'm going to lead on Opt here, digging for a Lava Coil. Magic's a tough game, chat. Magic's a tough game. Really hard. Bacon Bolt. Let's just be resource efficient and bacon her butt. Delicious. Delicious Vanaphere for dinner. We're so good we didn't even need the Lava Coil, chat. Just a plethora of riches. Nom nom, Vanaphere indeed. So you're saying there's a chance. Take a chance on me. I think if they attack with this, I'm actually going to block. Because again, if their whole turn is using this to eat my 2/2, I'm kind of okay with that. Because like, I don't really need the cost reduction on this anymore. And if they trade it off, that's also fine for me. So next turn's like, attack for 6, Crackling Drake, Lava Coil, your blocker here. Just cuted Esper party busted, I blame you. Fair. We accept that blame. So like I've got a ton of removal. I've got 3 lethal attackers. This one looks to be done here. In my experience playing the other side of the matchup, like these green creature decks, the green creature decks tend to really struggle against this archetype that we're playing. They just like don't have enough removal to like plow through these Phoenixes coming back again and again. So they're dead to this Beacon Bolt in my graveyard that they know about. I'll let them know that we have an embarrassment of riches though in Drew 1. Baconed Hydra. Has anyone brewed around Rhythm of the Wild plus Adonis Climb together, trying to synergize? Yeah, we have actually, right, Agash, and just like the takeaway is the same as basically every other Rhythm deck. I just don't think Rhythm of the Wild is very constructed playable. Its biggest problem is that it's trying to be a payoff card that requires other payoff cards, and the way this format kind of works is you just rather your cards be individually powerful. The only reason Hadana's Climb becomes close to playable in like the Teamer Climb shell that we've played is because Hadana's Climb is a card that like punches through for large points of damage, and you can play it out before your threats or after your threats, whereas Rhythm of the Wild has very strict timing requirements as well, which makes it awkward. Thanks everyone for dropping in today. Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday, wherever you're at. You're hanging out, playing some standard constructed like we usually do. Standard best of 3. Is there an archetype or deck strategy that this deck struggles with against others? This deck tends to be very bad against Esper control. Did you read the article on the invitational format at the Mothership? The author calls it highest level of rock, paper, scissors. Hey, at least they're being honest. At least they're honest about what it is. It's pretty rough against Reclamation too. I would believe that. We don't really have a lot of counter spells, and our clock isn't always super fast. Oh, do I actually discard a land and plan to just cast these Arclight Phoenixes? if I discard a bird here, I can only guarantee it into play by killing this, which doesn't seem very good. I'm gonna feel bad when this finds a shock. Yeah, it's like, the format's like rock, paper, scissors, where you pick what you're where you pick like 2 choices, and then they randomly get picked from your 2 choices. Yeah, I don't know. I hope their event this weekend is a success. Like, big events like that are good for Magic, but at a glance, as an outsider looking in, the format that they've chosen for the Invitational looks like it gives players less agency and control over their own destiny than best of 3 with sideboarding would. Maybe one of the big teams broke it, and that's an incorrect assessment. But as an outsider looking in, that's what it looks like to me. I think I'm just gonna cast Arclight Phoenix here, so I could like churn through my deck with these Charter Courses, but I think I'd rather just cast the Phoenix, so that way if they Gates Ablaze these next turn, I can put them both back out. It's actually going to be incredibly interesting to see. The fact that there's such a range of skills in the tournament does mean that it's going to really, it'll be easy to tell how much variance the format has based on the success of like the established good players versus people who don't play as much, right? Because like there's people in the tournament who like are content producers from other games that like literally haven't streamed Magic in the last 2 months. So it'll be interesting to see how those players do versus, you know, people like LSV and all the other Hall of Famers and MPL members. I think I just Lava Coil plus Beacon Bolt here. I get my monthly timeout. Of course, Aaron. Thanks for the 10 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed here. Can the mana in this format support Hero into Thief into Bolas? It cannot. 4-color decks are a really hard sell in this format, in my experience. They took my friends, chat. They took my friends. They cast Mass Manipulation, then played a free Gate Colossus. Yeah, do I just like go digging for shock here? I think it's right to go digging for shock, right? So I do this, and then if I find 2 copies of Shock, I kill their things and then attack with them. Alright, we're done. We're done. Feels like we're done. Lava Coil seems not great here. Negate and Stroke seem fine. Rail seems okay, better than Beacon Bolt at a glance. Like, he at least draws cards when we're not ready to kill things. Melody's good versus sheep. I mean, kinda. I'd rather just kill their sheep, right? It's really expensive for this to be good against sheep. I'm bringing the Spell Pierce. Let's try this. That felt pretty rough. Melody does take Krasis. That's true. Okay, yeah, maybe Melody should be in my deck because it is good against Krasis. I believe that. Yeah, why do I want Lava Coil in my deck, Greg? Sheep often grows out of the range of it very quickly. And like 2-for-1 in the Lava Coil against a Colossus doesn't seem good. Alright, the start is great. To attack for 5 on turn 3. I thought I already used this message, so I'll double down on your homework by listening to Virtual Insanity. Sounds good, Arc. MTG Mike, thank you for the very generous tier 2 resub. Welcome back for the 14th month. Thanks for keeping me around. Bye this start stuff, right? And if they Gates Ablaze me here, I get to just like untap and play Crackling Drake, which is like still keeps us going relatively well. And if I hit a land next turn, I get to get the Phoenix back. And actually with that, it means I don't even need to draw land, right? I can go opt Idea Shock. Yeah, we're playing Modern. We're playing Blue-Red Phoenix versus Tron right now. So all of my Modern players in the audience should feel right at home here. Actually, don't think I want to hold... I don't think I want to hold the Negate up. I think I want to just get the Phoenix back. I can hold Spell Pierce up here, though. I feel about Dispersal for next turn. So this is going to be 6. This could be 7. I think I'm actually going to keep this because I have my Black Source to Dispersal. So if they play a Giant Crisis, I'm just like, pick it up, kill you. Yeah, I think that's the line. It's like, holding the Spell Pierce up doesn't stop Gates Ablaze at this point, so it doesn't seem particularly useful. I guess it would stop Mass Manipulation this turn. We're actually still in a pretty okay spot here, right? Because I get to hit them to 3, I do this, I get to hold Negate up, and then next turn when they leave this back as a blocker, I can Dispersal it back to my hand. Not to mention they're just like dead on board. Why do people keep casting Unmoored Ego on me when I'm on girl aggro? Like, willingly sideboard that hit and then die, right? Croesus is annoying. Do I want another Drake here? Probably not. Shock is... This is... Actually, Shock's lethal, right? Shock puts them to 3, then they go... Or 1, then they go to 3, and then this Dispersal kills them. Because both of these are lethal and they only have 1 blocker. I don't know if this is a Spell Pierce matchup. I think I'm going to board that out for the next game. And I think their chat's right that I want Entrancing Melody. So Crackling Drake comes back to my hand. They discard a card. We attack for lethal. Melody in situations like this is very good. Blessed be the Blood Crypt. For it enables the Dispersals. Yeah, this Ral seems silly, and I'm gonna cut the Spell Pierce. I think I prefer Teamer Vanaphyr overall. Both Rekindling Phoenix and Lava Coil are very, very good Magic cards, Dunk Daddy. Oh, I think this is a mulligan. It's just kind of slow, right? No Electromancer, no untapped lands. It's a Gates Mirror. Welcome to Magic. Welcome to Magic. I will say this. One thing that's very smart is that... let's... hold on. These people are great. Buy their stuff. These people also great. Buy their stuff. Back to your regularly scheduled Magic the Gathering. One of the things that will be great about the Invitational this weekend is I'm pretty sure that they're managing the tournament via direct challenge modes on best of one, basically, the way the format works. So that means I would be surprised if they're not using the modified opening hand where it draws two hands and gives you the one with the average lands in it. So people will be mulliganing less at the Invitational this weekend, I would assume. Played Modern Vanifier Chord this weekend and took 10th. Just missed top 8 Breakers. Awesome, Jason. What event were you playing in? Glad you're enjoying it. It seems fine. Again, it kind of lacks some early interaction, but these ops and these radical ideas could be anything, even a shock. This is the Reclamation matchup. Someone mentioned they felt like this matchup could be hard for this archetype, which seems reasonable on the surface. This matchup's basically a race, and their deck is probably faster than ours on average. The boarding, I have to imagine, is very straightforward for this matchup. It's just cards like Lava Coil and stuff out, and counter spells in. Yeah, I agree, Ark. If you have a deck in this format that you enjoy playing that gets to play Mortify, it's a good choice. Is there a 1000-Year Storm Growth Spiral deck? There is not. I've not seen a Teamer 1000-Year Storm deck. Everyone always submits Jeskai 1000-Year Storm. Seems like the go-to for that style of deck. And just like, this is, yeah, I agree, Greystar. The last standard format felt like it was very close to Modern, except it didn't have all these nonsense BS combo decks in it. And now this format feels identical. Like, Gates is basically Tron, and these Wilderness Reclamation decks are basically eggs. A little bit more variety in the fair decks, and the biggest difference between this format and Modern right now is that, like, honest aggressive decks like Red Aggro and Gruul Aggro are competitive in this format still, whereas they tend to be too slow in Modern. But a lot of what's going on here has a lot of parallels to how Modern works as a format. That's true. This format's a lot cheaper than Modern. I'm gonna go ahead and concede to a giant thing here. Niv-Mizzet seems great. This is definitely a Spyglass matchup. Spyglass tags their Flip Search Res Kanta. I wonder if we're supposed to leave some Lava Coils in here, because some of these decks have Rekindling Phoenix in post-board, which can be tough for us to beat. Like, that card really stonewalls our attackers, and, like, I have things like Radical Idea and Charter Course to discard past Lava Coil when it's not good. Well, Niv is common in the main deck. Phoenix out of the sideboard is pretty common. So Burn's like a tier 1.5 deck in Modern, but like a red aggressive deck is pretty fringe. Like, people play a deck called 8-Whack that's a red aggro deck, but it's definitely not tier 1. I'm gonna bring in the Rails to clean up their Nivs. I think I just keep this. Again, a lack of pressure is a big deal in this matchup, but we don't have that many early threats in this archetype. Now, Mono Red Phoenix is like a pseudo graveyard combo deck. Nothing playing Faithless Looting is RDW chalky. Hopefully they growth spiral and then untap and try and Wilderness Reclamation into our Negate. Unemployed Sofa checking in for the 5th month. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I appreciate it. Like, again, here's the tough part, right? Like, I have to tap out for this threat, and, like, they get to sabotage me, and then they get to untap and, like, play their Wilderness Reclamation. They just run away with the game. But it's like, I can't not commit a threat to the table, because then they're going to have infinite time, and eventually they'll play through my disruption. So I can't just, like, sit on this Negate forever while I don't have a threat in play. Hardicus, thank you for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. It didn't lapse. Brendan, thank you for the 6 months. So as a heads up, it looks like you did break long enough to lose your streak, but Twitch doesn't do it streak based anymore, so you still get your sub icons when you resub if you lapse on a channel now. Are they about to blink my Drake? Shivan Fire? Okay. I think I just stick this. We just get to be incredibly sad when they play Niv-Mizzet next turn. Because there aren't anywhere near enough instances. Sorcerer's 1 in here. Red Source, Niv-Mizzet, untap, kill me. Tidwell, thank you for the half a year. I appreciate the 6 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Well, we might be able to get this off the table here. I have Lava Coil to deal 4, and then Ral can deal the last point, and I have a Negate to fight their counterspell. So they're gonna need double counter here. That being said, if they counter and I counter back, their Niv-Mizzet is going to trade with my Ral, which takes my source of card advantage away. Now, I pretty much only play constructed formats that are tournament formats, Ebzen. And the tournament format, EDH-based formats tend to be pretty poor.
Come on, breathe through it.
So, like, and again, this is the tough part. Like, I've answered their first threat here, but they have this Wilderness Reclamation in play, and they have, what, like, literally 7 cards in their hand? So, we're dead. It's gonna take our opponent a little while to kill us, but we're not winning this game. I feel like that those results don't surprise me, and like how poor the Reclamation matchup felt there really kind of solidifies for, in my mind, why this deck really hasn't taken off in the format. Like that Reclamation matchup felt incredibly helpless. I didn't feel like I really had the tools to be able to be successful there. and I'm not really sure how you could change that to become better. Honestly, you'd probably want to be the more traditional blue-red Drakes is probably better there, but then that deck has issues in other places. Basically, the threats in this deck cost too much mana to get into play that we can't simultaneously get threats into play while also disrupting them was the biggest issue this deck felt like it had there. And then combine the bad Recollection matchup with the fact that this deck really struggles against Esper control a lot of the time. And I think you have a mix for a deck that's just not going to be very successful in the format a lot of the time. Yeah, like, you could play Terramander builds, but I think those introduce other problems into the format. So, or into the archetype, which I don't have enough time to, like, sit here and explore that now, but